What's up, everybody? My name is Galston, Anthony, the best to ever do it. And once again, you're on the G2G Podcast. Somebody I got today in the studio is an OG, a hip-hop legend, a man who's really renowned for his lyricism ability and so much more, and has ventured into different types of business inside the music and media industry. I'm speaking about nobody else but Morel.
Hey, what's up, Galston?
I'm good. Yourself, man?
I'm good.
The bad news is that we did this interview before. It was so authentic. They're doing it again.
And it's raining outside.
As I mentioned, you are a respected figure in the hip-hop industry. But let's start off, before we get into a little tougher question, let's start off with the journey. It is a young man from Soweto that came to the suburbs, did some school, and 2006-07 had so much buzz, 2008 blow up. Tell me about young Morel.
Well, I think young Morel was just having fun. And to me, hip-hop was a lifestyle at that time. Since from primary school, like, it was just about being cool, because I was looking up to role models at that time that looked like me.
What does look like you mean?
Black, young, coming from my background. I mean, I come from the hood, Soweto. And I was looking up to guys like Steve Biko at the time, Mandela, but I just thought they were old school. I was, there wasn't any young guys that looked like me and that inspired me at the time while I was in primary school, right? Because remember, I come from not before apartheid was abolished, So I come from the 80s, born in the 80s, So everything on TV was white. That was like glorified.
And you were conscious of this as a kid?
Yeah, I was conscious because at that time, all families were very politically conscious, because of apartheid. So I was just looking for role models, and hip hop kind of like caught my eye, and I saw guys that were young talking about the same struggles, but from a different continent, from the States and stuff, and they were talking about the same struggles as us. So that's where I fell in love with hip hop.
So when you fell in love with hip hop, I'm gonna guess that you listened to Nas, and the reason why I say Nas is because some of your style kind of,
Later on, I started listening to Nas, but when I started, I was like listening to Criss Cross,
but they weren't like politically, because Criss Cross were a whole bunch of kids.
Remember, I was a kid at that time.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I was a kid, and they appealed to me, and I was like, jump, and I wanted to braid my hair like that at that time. But as I grew and got to understand hip hop, I looked up to guys like Nas, and this was when I was in high school. Nas, Biggie. In fact, I wasn't into Nas. I thought Nas, I didn't like his flows. I think they were too rigid.
It's interesting you say that, because if I actually listen to your raps, I mean, I'm guessing you're still talking about teenage Morel as opposed to 20-year-old.
Teenage, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so we're still there, because then I got to listen to 20-something-year-old Morel, where his flow was very AZ, Nas-like, right? I bet you nobody knows who AZ is. And I bet you surprised that I'm
sure the people that just saw Morel, if they are looking at this video, they're gonna know.
Yo, on that note, please click there, comment, and say and acknowledge that you know the OG Morel, because we're going to try and go through a whole long story about the generation of rap he comes from in South Africa and so much more. So we're just going through a little, break the ice conversation for now. So here it is, right? You get into high school, and you when you get into high school, you move out of Soweto?
I moved out of Soweto because my family lost their house, and I had a bursary to start school in Sandton.
Because that two sentences is like, I lost the house, then I got a bursary at Vega.
I got a bursary, right, while I was staying in Soweto. We had a house in Soweto, and by the time, you get your a bursary, I got it when I was in grade 10, because I was so brilliant. I got my bursary. Then I had 2 more years to complete high school. When I completed high school, the last year of matric, we lost our house in Soweto, and I stayed in a back room somewhere the whole of my matric year, trying to survive and complete my
A
matric.
back room where in Sandton?
No, in Soweto.
In Soweto still,
Yeah.
okay.
By the time I was done, a friend of mine, cousin, Sean Pages, got enrolled in the same school that I was meant to go to, which is Vega. So our parents spoke, and I ended up staying with Sean Pages, and he stayed in the north, in Bramley.
Is this where the start of rap happened for you on a more serious level?
It was always serious. I think I connected with Sean and the rest of my friends, Bo El Tido, Zodiac Sons, which is the clique that I was in while I was in primary,
You in a rap clique in primary? Damn.
It was all because of all my friendships at that time were mended or were created because of hip hop. We were just living a lifestyle.
And I'm guessing around the time you were like in primary school / high school, we're still in the 90s, right? So Pac, the height of Pac was still there. I believe he died. So living the lifestyle.
Pac and Biggie died while I was still in primary.
Right.
And I remember the morning when...
Did you cry when Pac died?
Yeah, most of us cried, yeah.
Man, are you like a 10-year-old, 11-year-old kid crying?
I was more for the East Coast.
Yeah, I could tell that in your flow, so it makes sense.
I fell in love with hip-hop through the West Coast, through Warren G and Snoop Dogg. I mean, Snoop Dogg had a crazy album at that time. Then I switched over from there to the East Coast, But when Tupac died, it was like, wow, sad. And then Biggie died, and then guys were crying. Oh my God.
The phone ringing on a podcast.
How did everybody?
So let's fast forward that.
Yeah.
Right? Here we are, we at high school, and we're finishing high school, and then the Glitz Gang is formed. Now you're already with Sean Pages at the time. How do you meet Muggs and Tito? Because one thing I know is that the time I got to hear about Morel, Pages, and Tito, Muggs had a buzz.
Yeah.
His buzz was already there. So how did y'all come together?
Well, I met El Tito when I was in primary school. I was in a clique called Zodiac Sons, as I said before. So El Tito was like a standard above me. So he was in high school, grade 6 or something. Like he was... I still get confused with the grades and the standards.
And the standards, right?
Yeah. So he was in standard 6. I'm gonna say it like how it was at that time. Standard 6, and I was in standard 5. But we were in the same crew, because Noble's older brother was in high school, and Noble was a friend of mine that got me into the clique, and he was friends with El Tito and Tiro and all these other guys from Glitz Gang. So I mean, not Glitz Gang, the Zodiac Sons. So the Zodiac Sons was divided into 2: the older guys that were in high school and the younger guys that were in primary, right? And in primary, it was myself, it was a guy called Noble, and a guy called Tabi. So I forgot his alias. But when we left primary, some of the guys just gave up rapping. Then the guys that still liked rap got unified with the high school Zodiac Sons. So that's when I became in the same clique with El Tito,
Right.
Noble, Tiro, and Kingdom, and Raf.
But the rest of us never quite got to hear about Zodiac Sons, but we got to hear about Glitz Gang.
Yeah.
So who recruited who?
So this is how it happened. After high school, guys just quit the whole Zodiac Sons thing.
Naturally.
But they just quit, and they went to school to study and whatnot. And I never quit writing and living my lifestyle like a rapper, And when I moved in with Sean Pages, we were making beats and rapping still, recording ourselves. And our dream was to just drop mixtapes at the time. While we were doing this, Muggs was doing the same. And he teamed up with Pro and them.
Pro, right? Because that's where his buzz mainly came from.
Yeah. So he blew up.
Arguably, so he just had a hectic buzz.
Yeah,
but he
he
didn't
had a
quite
buzz,
blow.
but he did blow to us at that time because on our level we were nobodies. We weren't known, you know. So he was blowing up, and he was like leading the herd in terms of where I was coming from, because in high school I went to school with Muggs, and I also formed different cliques with Muggs. We were called Crucial Instinct at some point.
And where was he grade-wise with you? Because El Tito was a grade ahead.
He was also a grade ahead.
All right, so Tito and Muggs were like same class?
Yeah, same class.
Got ya.
And stuff. So Muggs, I got to know Muggs at NSA, National School of Arts, high school. We were in the same clique, and after school, we just stopped rapping. So I was in between cliques. I was between Zodiac Sons, Crucial Instinct. But after school, we were all friends, you know, like Muggs knew El Tito, and we started hanging out. And when I started recording and being serious about rap, but not to be famous, but just to do songs, you know, I had no idea that I was going to be famous. I wasn't even intending to be famous. I just wanted to drop mixtapes and be popular with the girls, and like play the music in my car when
what's
girls
crazy
are around, you know.
that you mentioned that is that hip hop was actually about to be popular amongst the girls around you, because we didn't have
Yeah.
internet to, to
Yeah.
explore that far. Number one. Number two, it was to have respect amongst each other. Did you hear that line when he said A, B, C, D?
Yeah.
You know, so I'm guessing that's where you were. So you had that mentality at that time.
Or maybe just go to Rap Activity Jam and rap there, or your song gets played
Cyphers,
there, then it
and
just makes your life, bro. You just become popular because of that. So that's the type of mentality that I was in at that time. I wasn't even thinking I was going to be big. Then I dropped the Rising Sun mixtape, and I was working as a broker at that time. I could finance the project, you know. It blew up. Like the song got played on Metro.
is this
on
is this
Tibo
I
Tachi
Am, the one
Show.
on this I Am, or was that Rising Sun?
It was Rising Sun, the mixtape.
The mixtape, right?
The song that got played for the longest time there was Promise. So that's when people started discovering me, and I got some interviews and some features in terms of tracks on the Hype mixtapes. And that's how people got to know Morale. I think I gotta give a shout out to Hype.
Yeah, because Hype actually played a very crucial role in hip hop in South Africa.
Yeah.
But just remind me to circle right back to that. Then we get to a place where 2008 Morel was literally the second biggest rapper in the country, period.
Yeah.
The only rapper bigger than you was Deleuze.
Yeah.
Right. He came out with the Josie, did relatively well. But then as an individual, when Tippy Toes came out, it was curtains for all rappers.
Yeah.
Right. It was curtains. Right.
Yeah.
Late Jabba Double HP was around, and it was starting to become a little rough for him because now the tides are starting to shift. Here, Morel, instead of Tippy toeing along with him, drops a conscious song, I Am, and boom, blows up.
Yeah.
How? What happened? Is that what you expected? I mean, there was Muggs in the picture. There was Pro. There was, but you became the second biggest rapper that year.
I think it was also because of the music that I was listening to, and the influences in my life, like Zodiac Sons, because they were conscious rappers. I mean, we were Wu-Tang fans. You know, we wrote RZA like lyrics, you know, and I was being true to that. I just came out like that. But Lance didn't like it at that time because I was in talks to sign with Get It Rough at that time. And Lance is like, you sound like you from overseas, but you sound like you from New York. It doesn't sound South African, this, you know? I was like, you know what? I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to take his advice, but I'm not going to switch it up and make it something that's not me at the time. So I got back into studio. I wrote I Am, and I just wanted to keep it strictly English, but I used context that's South African. Like, I am Marcus Garvey, I'm Hector Peterson, I am Thabo Mbeki.
How did you expect people to speak conscious thing? I am Steve Biko, I am Nelson Mandela, I am, and then still use that heavy lyrics and still people liked you? Because that was a very difficult one. I don't think that was repeated again.
Yeah.
That was not
Yeah,
repeated.
not in my career.
Yeah,
Like,
and not only by you, not by you. I'm talking about anybody.
yeah.
There was nobody with that technicality that ever got famous.
Yeah.
How did you feel? Because was it a complete accident or was it planned?
I fought the song and I wrote it for my people, the guys that I hung out with. And I thought it was a good idea to pay homage to the people that I mentioned, the Marcus Garveys, the Hector Petersons, the Steve Bikos in the song, you know. But I never thought it was gonna blow like it blew, because even the music video, I wasn't even thinking of shooting a music video for that song. A friend of mine hit me up on that day and said, "Yo, I've got a camera, and we've got like equipment." Dibs put me on. Yeah. He shot that thing, and I didn't even know how to perform the lyrics of the song proper. And you listen to the song, but actually perform the song is like crazy. Then after that, I'm just being called for shows, to perform at shows. And I was like, well, I didn't even think this thing was gonna go this far. Then I did it. I got on stage at Back to the City, performed after Do Me in the Volume. You know, no, before I opened for Do Me in the Volume. And they wanted me to go after Do Me in the Volume. I was like,
Oh,
no
that was
ways.
tough. It was a tough one,
I was
right?
like, no ways.
Because he had a whole band.
Yeah,
you know?
that's how big I was at that time. And I was like, no ways, bro. You're not putting me on fun. I'm not going after Do Me. I'll go before Do Me.
Sure.
And when the performance is done, Osmic hits me up in backstage and gives me an envelope. And I'm like, wow, there's cash.
Oh,
I
brown
didn't expect
envelope?
that. I didn't
What?
think. I'm just thinking, we're doing this. Yeah, let's rock. We didn't even talk money when he said come perform. I said, yeah, let's do it.
I mean,
I just wanted to impress the girls that I was with at that time. So that's how I got famous. I didn't know that I'm getting famous. I didn't know that this song is so big. Then, yeah, it was like December. We were hanging out, and Channel O and the Channel O and SABC were playing that song on rotation.
I remember this so well. I recall a moment that I was in Pretoria doing strictly hip hop, and AKA, he was still bubbling under. He was Entity AKA at the time. And Entity kind of had a buzz. They weren't really big, but they had like a buzz and everything. And he just broke up from the crew, and he was hosting the show amongst two other people. And we're waiting for other rappers to come in. They came late, and you were one of those people came late. There was like an encore. I don't think you witnessed it. There was an encore calling for you. AKA is in the hall at the time. They calling for you. Scream, Maury, Maury. Everybody's waiting for you to come and you got there probably 30 minutes later, cleaned out to the stage. It was over. That's how big you were. And this is 2008. I remember this. Now, 2009 is AKA that went with the hit the floor. That was the AKA then. So he was not nearly as big. That his buzz started there afterwards.
Yeah.
So just to give you an idea how big Morel was. But now, how did Muggs feel? Because Muggs had, I think, two buzzes at the time. He had the pro buzz, and then, that didn't work out. Then he had his own buzz, and he's not kind of blowing up, and then Morel, boom.
In fact, for us, it was like teamwork, We knew what we were working on in studio. We knew some of these songs are going to come and blow the scene, So I don't know personally what he was going through as a person, but as a team, we knew that, oh, no, it's my time to shine, and Tito's time to shine is going to come, and Sean Page's time is going to come as well. So I know he was working on more heavier songs because we were just learning from each other. We saw, okay, I am worked. Let's try this. And other people like the El Titos, they went in their own direction.
He was the last one to blow. Well, technically speaking, because Sean Pages didn't have a blow up. He had a good 1 or 2 run, but he didn't have a blow up. But I believe El Tito was the last one to blow.
Yeah, he's the one that blew very fast after I blew up. I think he blew proper commercial.
He blew a proper commercial a lot later. With, I think there's one particular song that made him like very popular was with KO.
Yeah.
That was the song that was a song that literally made, okay, now we talking to somebody. But that was like, what, 4 or 5 years after you?
Yeah.
Yeah, quite some time. Let's circle back to Hype Music, Hype Magazine. So Hype Magazine was very pivotal at the time. They took everything that was from the streets and, started reporting on it. Now, the Johannesburg North Boys, as well as the OGs, were the ones they mostly spoke about. And you popped up a couple of times in the Hype Magazine. How do you think Hype helped the industry? And also, let's not forget Osmic on Back to the City. How do you think they contributed, according to you? Educate the kids.
I think we basically, let me say, the kids don't know how Hype Magazine was like. Hype Magazine was like Twitter, basically. Like it was a platform for us to go to, and interact. Even though we weren't interacting with each other, it was through a magazine, and you could see what the guys in Gugulethu are doing. The hip hop movement in Gugulethu is doing.
Bear in mind, guys, there's no internet. Well, there is internet, but we have MySpace at the time. Facebook was not really a thing. It's literally print.
Yeah. So Hype Magazine actually was like the third eye of what was happening in the hip hop scene at that time. So you could learn about all these different movements at that time that were happening, and you could hear the sound, because they came with that CD, and it was.
I've been on it a couple of times, actually.
Yeah. So I loved the CD because it introduced you to new sounds. You would be listening to American hip hop, then when you listen to that CD, it's like sometimes you'd hate it so much because it's so different from the mainstream hip hop sound at that time, which was international. But when you listen to that, it sometimes was totally different, or was like the mainstream hip hop that was happening then. But you fell in love with how authentic it was. And I think that's what they were trying to push, like our voices and stuff. And I think it shaped hip hop to what it is today. How it's how the Casper sound, how even South African hip hop lovers love and got to accommodate us our authentic South African sound, because there was beef at that time between the English rappers and the Kasi rappers, and who's going to get the spotlight on radio and how we should sound.
That was very interesting.
Yeah, because at that time, some people would say, yeah, he sounds too American. Then it'd be the Cheese Boys that like that sound, the proverb sound, the do me sound and stuff. And some people considered that sound the superior sound, and the Pro Kid sound was inferior.
How, Sway? Because Pro Kid was so prolific. Do you know Pro Kid made me like Zulu? And I explained to a couple of people that I did know of a language called Zulu, but I've never quite heard it. And the way he kind of rapped kind of made me enjoy the language. The way he played, it sounded like sounds put together, because I don't understand the words. And he made it sound good. I wanted to learn Zulu. And you know what I did? I came to Johannesburg, got a Zulu girlfriend. That's Pro Kid. I got to give him that. And the pivotalness, because I want to come back to Pro Kid, the pivotalness of hip-hop forums at the time, which we don't quite have now, your Hype magazines, your C's and Scoop, where you had to go down to the radio station, hit some bars, yo, I rap, I kill niggas rappers every day. Then you jump into studio, and then you have your 15 seconds on Fame there. You had your Osmic with Back to the City, and you have a lot of these people. Back then versus now, why don't we have that now? Because I want to accuse you for saying you one of the reasons why hip hop is dead.
I think the hip hop got turned into more of a business. Because I think at that time it was the culture. It was about going to a Lee club, meeting up with everybody and talking politics about what's happening with whatever is happening currently at that time in the international scope, Then we'll talk about what's happening here, how far we have to go. Then they'd call you on stage to go rap. Then the same guys that you were politicking with either hating on you or they like you,
Are you giving an excuse of why you fell off?
No. We'll talk about that. I never fell off.
I want to talk about it right now. I'd say you fell off and fell off pretty hard. Like, are you blaming that the whole
No,
industry changed?
I'm just saying. I was busy trying to get into detail why things are different now, because it was more of a culture and a lifestyle like back in the days. It was a mindset that I'm a rapper, I'm gonna dress like this. Even when you walked in the hood and people were laughing at you and saying rapper, because that's how it was. It was your life, it was your religion. Nowadays it's not like that. It's about making money, it's about getting views and followers on social networks, on say social media. Uh, um, and it's no longer about people getting together and people actually performing their art while
Let me
they're there
try and
together.
translate what you're saying. You fell off because the culture shift was there. So now you couldn't move with the culture, so therefore you fell off.
I grew. I didn't fall off. I think I hit my pinnacles, and I think I got hip hop to where it was meant to be at that time, and somebody had to take the torch from there. The Nasty C's, the AKAs, the Caspers had to do their thing, And there's gonna be another younger rapper that's gonna do the same for those guys. It's already happened.
We pay homage to people like you because obviously I got to test as much as possible. As peers, we're rapper peers. It's just nobody knew I ever rapped.
Yeah,
But we were peers, and I myself, Galston Anthony, looked up to you and loved your lyrics and even knew, man, you know that I knew your music back then. These are not stuff you do research. It's something that I lived in real time. But moving on to that, let's talk about the OGs. So we would say that you are second/third generation of rap, right? So we'd say the first generation of rap would be your Mischiefs. People don't know who that is. R.I.P. to him. He's Specs.
Snares.
Who was Amu? We can put him in first or second generation, somewhere there, right? And who else was in that Squatter Camp? So these were people of the first generations. They've been wiped off the face of the earth. Nobody cares. Their history is almost wiped off. That's that, right? And then we get to the second generation where Amu is kind of also coming through from that, and so is Squatter Camp, because the reinvention of Squatter Camp when they had Relo on it, they kind of brought hip hop into the play. And I'm going to have Sugar Smacks and Slicker here to talk about it. They were pundits. They were pundits of hip hop. Nobody knows about it. Then here, the third generation comes in, which is you, which is Proverb, which is Pro Kid, which is, you name them, right? That is coming here. Now this generation's way after, because AKA is part of the third generation that I'm referring to now. He just transcended to the sixth generation. Now we on the sixth. Why are these not paying any homage to the generations prior? Whereas you pay homage to all the generations prior before, and all the people in our generation did the same thing. What is the difference?
These guys pay homage when they see you in person. But on record now they don't, there was a time where I used to see Nasty C from a distance and whatnot, and he never greet or and I bumped into him at some YFM gig. Then the homie comes out to me and he's like, "Yo, I love your music," you were like my favorite rapper at some point, you know? Shout outs. But I'm like, bro, I'm out the game. You telling me when I'm out the game, you know, when I'm doing things in the background. Now you telling me this. You should have told me at that time, you know? Or we could have worked at that time.
Do you think it's
know?
because he's now becoming an OG status and he's feeling the brunt and the pain that you felt
Yeah,
before,
even
and then he's
younger.
realizing that he has to pay that homage?
Even younger, same thing happened. I think when their career matures and they actually see where the future is going to be, because I am the future. I am going to be the future. I am the future of a hot rapper right now. You know?
I am.
I am. You know, you are gonna get old. You are gonna have children, and you need to survive. You know, and I am, and I'm proud. I'm happy of everything that I've done in my career. Uh, the falling off that you are talking about, the golden moments that happened in my life, you know, the disputes between Glitz Gang, the great moments, you know, I loved my journey.
Let's talk about a little bit of Morel's journey. Because I know you for 15 years, maybe? 15,
Yeah.
like on an individual level, right? Obviously, you know Morel before then, but, you know, one-to-one, I know you. And there was a time that Morel went through the pits.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, he went through the pits. And here you are a couple years ago, you had one of the biggest singles. The nice thing about your struggle is that you went through it much more silently than most people.
Yeah.
Right? And you going through the pits. How you feeling knowing that once upon a time I had a hit? Once upon a time I was influential. Once upon a time I'm the one that put this generation together. I made English rap cool. There's not many people that did that. Before AKA did it was either me or Deleuze. That's that. Everybody that was blowing up was Vanak. It was Jabba, it was Pro Kid, R.I.P. to them. Kulichana. But now I am in the pits. How did you feel about that?
I think for me, it wasn't even the pits, because I had to grow up and get out of my famous bubble. There's this fame drug that runs through our blood, and it messes with us, you know, as artists. You live in this delusional world where there's so much pressure on yourself. You can't be seen in a taxi. You can't be seen slacking. You can't be seen. There's so much pressure, you know. I was going through that for the longest time, up until I told myself, nah, man, I don't care anymore. I need to start focusing on the gaps that I'm seeing in my life. You know, not a lot of rappers have title deeds. Not a lot of rappers
Bars, you hear that?
have you know, have pension funds. Not a lot of rappers have
Any investment of any kind.
investments or anything, you know. So I looked into that. I'm like, no, this is what I need to start working on. And in order for me to get there, I must swallow my pride. I'm a rapper. I can't be seen in a taxi. I must go knock on doors and make business happen. And that's what I chose. I chose to start a business, and it involved me knocking on doors, you know, sometimes kissing ass to get business, you know, not literally, but I'm just saying, and forget about being that arrogant or you know how rappers are, like, am
A
I
sense of
touchable?
narcissism.
Yeah, like,
So that leads me to this question, right? Because this is the sad part of hip hop. We lost a lot of people in hip hop.
and they
And I
went
would
through
like to.
exactly
They went
what
through
I was
what you
saying, yeah.
went through. So you survived all this low parts of your life, and we thank God that you're here, right? Because you help us tell some of the history that many of the kids don't know. But then we have people like Pro. I mean, he left us when he was in the pits. Jabba, only a few of us know that he was actually in the pits, right? We only knew that after his death, right? And he was trying to climb out of it and had struggles of it. What do you tell OGs? What do you tell kids that had their moment, their 2 minutes of fame, and they're going through it? What do you tell them? Because we ain't trying to lose any more of the people. I mean, aka is a unique situation. It's a slightly different one. But Riky Rick, Jabba, Pro Kid, to some degree, we can class them as the same.
What I can tell anyone, not just the rappers, life zigzag. It's like I did Forex for 2 minutes, and what I learned from Forex and what I learned from life is that there's going to be ups and downs in life, When stuff is good at the top, that's when you prepare for when shit hits the fan at the bottom, And when you're at the bottom, you prepare for when you're at the top. So it works like that. So I've always seen life like that. And when rap took a dip for me, it was a challenge. Like I know what my destiny is. I was born to be an entrepreneur. I was born to be a creator. It's in my blood. And I've got visions, and these visions, I want them to be a reality. And at that time, my vision was to start a company that supplied production music or TV music in the background for ads or for TV and whatnot. And I tried that with Sean Pages, and it went down the hill, I got Sean Pages some jobs and stuff. And once he started getting paid, he forgot about me,
Sean Pages, I've invited you to this podcast, right? So trash has been spoken about you, right?
No, it's not
Come
trash.
here.
It's not trash.
He's talking
my
trash
brother.
about you, bro.
I love that guy. It's part of growing. Thank God he made me go through that, because like I was like, Sean Pages, let's do this. Next thing, dude is not talking to me about the deals that are happening through the connection that I put him with, and he's actually doing these things up until the point they even did the song for Scheme Sam, and I was just cut out the deal, never spoken, but I love him, man. But I learned a lot from that. It taught me how to handle contracts and how to handle business when it comes to representing anyone, So I went through that, and I came out stronger. And I had to make a choice at the end of the day. Like, people don't know that you are not hitting your pinnacles, because I've got goals. My goals are to do certain things, and if I'm like, this thing is holding me back, and I feel like rap was holding me back at that time, I hit the ceiling, and I tried to drop some songs, but the times weren't with me anymore. Like, I was still trying to drop those conscious.
Right, and there was even an image change from your end as well, because I call you Morel, but the name is actually sort of changed, right?
Yeah.
Right. It's just maybe because I'm stuck in the ages of Morel and not Mino Black. But I want to shift the topic a little bit, right? Culture, Black culture. And this is a very, very serious topic that I have an argument a lot of the times with myself and people that would like to engage in this topic. This podcast, I believe, is an educational one. I actually think this podcast is and could be a cornerstone to the music industry as a whole because of my 2-decade experience here. I brag about it out. Wear it as a medal. I love it. In the 2 decades, you've seen me be on TV shows, right? They didn't blow up locally. You've seen me do raps. They didn't blow up, whatever the case may be. But be that as the people that has blown up and has carried the industry and so and so and so, the tides has shifted so much that the kids right now don't understand the respect that they need to have to grow it, that if a podcast like this speaks about good upbuilding situations like this, they don't want to hear it. They got to hear which Sangoma did through lightning at which person did something bad to each other. They don't seem
Who swore at who?
Who swore at who? So the black
slept with who?
culture,
Yeah.
the black culture, and I say it again, the black culture wants to see the demise of its own culture for it to sponsor it some more so it can have more demise.
So the numbers can shoot up.
So the numbers can shoot up for the demise of somebody else. What do you have to say about that? And how can you discourage against it if that's what you are about?
Well, I just go with the flow. I think if the people want to see that, that's what the people want to see. If they want to see controversial stuff, they want me to stand up and show my dick print, That's what they
Pause, man.
Pause.
YouTube,
But I have to
please.
say-
I did nothing. I'm not involved.
I think it's happening right now. I mean, this man has cameras here that are worth so much, and this equipment, and he's doing it from his own pocket, you know, and you're making this thing happening. I'm investing in my company as well. I'm putting on over 100 composers to take their music to levels that will never happen if they even tried it by them by their own, you know. So we are doing what you are saying right now. Us being here, taking the time, and not popping champagnes, not buying Porsches, not trying to impress people, you know, not trying to throw gas into this fire that you are talking about, you know. We are here actively changing the narrative. We're putting our money on it. So we need more of this. Black men sitting together, hearing each other's stories out, and putting the money there and making it happen.
I appreciate the compliment, brother.
The numbers might not be great, but we're doing it.
Let's change that. Let's hope that the numbers will be great.
It will change.
And I thank you for the compliment. I actually take quite deeply to that compliment. Don't even know what to say much about that compliment, but there are a few people in the industry that I'd like to talk to on this podcast. Nasty C, him and I have never met. That's the one person I've never actually ran into throughout my career. And you mentioned that, you know, at least he's paying homage and he's going through the tides where he has to shift his career from the United States to here. And by the way, when I first heard that he wanted to push, you know, his music to the United States, I said, it's not going to work. I knew it. I knew there and then it was not going to work.
Where you come from,
the territory, what do you rep, who did you shoot, you know, how many of these local women have you hit, you know, can you speak for the people, did you push drugs in the corner? And I mean, I'm not speaking bad for Nasty C, one of the most prolific rappers, period.
Yeah.
Worldwide.
One of my favorites.
However, he couldn't break in. So it shows that music alone is not what's going to get you around the world. It's, you know, a culture, it's a group of people and whatnot. But your take of Nasty C and his direction that he's moving and the things that he's doing, what is your take in general?
I think he had to go to the States and try it. Because that's what it's about. You have to try it. You can't just dream about it. You need to do it. And he's learned what he's learned. And I know that he's working. He's not stopping. He's working. And we'll see as the future unfolds. Nasty C will be Nasty C, and he's going to come out like we want Nasty C to come out. I have not lost faith in him. I don't think he's hit the ceiling. I think he's a very talented young man. And if the Tylers or Tyler.
Come on, man.
know?
Put some respect
I'm
on
an
the name.
OG. I'm an OG.
Put some
I
respect
don't know
on the
these
name.
names, but I
Tyler,
don't say these
I
names.
want you to understand that if me and you meet up and, you know, we're feeling something, you want to refer back to this podcast, I don't know this guy. I just met him. All right?
So if the Tylers can do it, bro, Nasty C is never too late. I still have faith. I think he can still break.
I think.
But it's just that hip hop sometimes it's hard to break in hip hop because of the nature and the culture and everything about hip hop. But music is music, bro. Music can break.
And worst of all, hip hop is dead. But I think, from my perspective, the Nasty C, dead or alive, was supposed to be the #1 GOAT in South Africa due to his prolificance. If we just go down to prolificance, you might agree with me there.
Yeah,
right?
hey.
Now, top 5 dead or alive.
Why did you have to mention Nasty C?
And let's just put it this way, that although I'm asking you top 5 dead or alive, Nasty C, you can put him in that category if you like. Unfortunately, he's not in that category, not just according to me, but overall, because it has nothing to do with his talent.
Yeah.
It's just he didn't hit that pinnacle that is needed. He was at some point the 3rd biggest artist in the country, but he didn't quite hit the pinnacle to deserve that title, according to hip hop standards. Right. So love him. I'd love to speak to you. I'd love to challenge you and more. But let's talk real top 5 dead or alive. Let's argue it out.
I'm gonna put me first.
You first. Every rapper does that.
Me first, but I'm number 5 on the list.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, number 5 is me. Number 4, Do Me in the volume.
Do me, not Stogie.
It's one person to me.
Okay.
Yeah, Do Me in the volume. Number 4. Number 3, Casper.
Interesting. Right.
Casper. Hey, it's getting difficult now. Number 2 is going to be Double HP. Number 1 is a tie. Between Riky Rick, aka
3 people coming?
yeah. It's so I said Riky Rick,
AKA?
and Pro Kid.
I like that. So top 5 dead or alive. You know what? I want to give you my top 5 dead or alive.
Yeah.
I think number 1 should be my dear friend, R.I.P. to him, Keenan.
Yeah.
Right. Number 2.
Yeah.
It becomes tricky at number 2. But at number 2, I'd like to give that to Cooley and Jabba at the same time. Number 3, I'd like to give it to Pro Kid. Number 4, I'd like to give it to Stogie T. Number 5 is interesting because it's a group of rappers is number 5. There's Maury, there's Muggs. There is Proverb, who's been underrated, undermined in every single way in his in his career.
Yeah.
And the last 2 is Questa and Casper. So
Wow.
all 5 of these people
Yeah.
are number 5 in top 5.
All right, I can live with that. Yeah, I should have played it like that too.
All right, thank you so much, brother. Thank you for being here. You did not know this, and I do not give these compliments very often. You've known me for a couple of years. I'm not one to throw compliments like this. You have been a beacon of hope for me in one way or the other. You've been a beacon of hope business. I'll tell you where that started. It actually started in 2012. I had this conversation with you in Planet Radio TV, one of the companies that I helped build, and you gave me some of the ideas of which directions I could move. You were that beacon of hope. Number 2, the beacon of hope is that seeing our dearly departed go, and you went through the pits, and I watched it, and you still stood, and you came out a greater and better man in pushing these companies. You were that. Number 3, the fact of that you gave me the opportunity as an OG in this game, as somebody who is respected, especially by me, and should be respected so much more, sits down with me and has this conversation, shows me that you are a hell of a man more than you realize. So I want to give you your flowers. I can't give you a set of flowers because that will be some Diddy party, right? So that plant's going to be right next to you. And that's that. So thank you, brother.
Thank you.
So thank you for coming to the show. I appreciate it. And cheers to your legacy. Cheers to doing so much more. And I want you to drop 1 or 2 more songs, and I'll make sure that I push it from my standpoint. And they should be hip-hop based.
Okay, we'll see about that.
Thank you, brother.
Okay, thank you.
Now, remember, morale on our podcast is a learning curve for many of us in the industry. We are having an audience that are 35 and 25. That's the group of people. For those that did not know he was an OG and came here from a long time, please check him out, Morel on YouTube and so much more. If he has a channel, which I didn't ask you about, please click, follow, and subscribe. And on that note, please click, like, subscribe, and also put some comments about what part of the industry, what part in time did he influence you, or how much more do you want to know about him, and so that we can have this conversation more and more. The G2G podcast is here to build, uncover, and grow, not to destroy. On that note, El Tito, I'd like you to come and sit with me here. I've given you a call before. You made it a little difficult for me, but I'd like to give another opportunity for you and me to sit right here. Do you endorse that, my brother?
Yeah.
What about the yeah? Like, I don't know.
No. You caught me off guard. I'm just thinking about other things. But yeah, definitely.
They got beef, right?
No, I don't have beef with
They got beef.
No.
I'm just messing up. I'm just messing with
Starting
you.
with this controversial stuff. Nah, I don't have beef. I love you, El Tito.
Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and until next time, G2G Podcast.
You trying to sell your shit, bro.
Hey, man, I need to get my views, man.